Nick Mahabir is a 17-year-old breaststroke standout from San Diego, California. Nick currently holds all 3 Singaporean national records in the breaststroke events, recently becoming the first from his country to break the 1-minute barrier in the long course 100-meter breaststroke. Nick grew up mostly playing water polo and has only been swimming year-round since COVID began, when he was forced to abandon the contact sport. Next fall, he will begin training and studying at Cal Berkeley, where he hopes to make an impact at the already historic swimming program. With breaststroke being a kick-driven stroke, it shouldn't come as a surprise that Nick has some of the best anatomical tools out of any breaststroker we've ever tested. Our first series of tests, we compared different kick rates to see what his optimal kick rate is. We use a tempo trainer, kickboard, and snorkel so that he can focus on pure kicking technique at each given kick rate. During our velocity meter testing, Nick averaged 1.05 meters per second when kicking at a 45 kick rate, 1.057 meters per second at a 50 kick rate, and 1.12 meters per second at a 55 kick rate. Out of the 3 trials we conducted with Nick, his velocity increased as his kick rate increased. But let's dive a little deeper into what he does that allows him to manage this and what he needs to work on in order to keep improving. First, at the 45 kick rate, you'll notice these massive spikes in the green graph, followed by a steep drop and then a more gradual, slightly bumpy descent to the bottom, what we will call trough 1. This is our velocity graph, and that massive spike corresponds to the peak velocity of the kick. The smaller bumps are what we call the afterburners. At the 50 kick rate, likely due to fatigue or lack of rest, Nick averages about the same velocity as he did on the slower kick rate. So why the lack of improvement here? In this case, it's pretty simple. He's not kicking as hard. He dropped from an average peak velocity of 2.08 meters per second down to 1.95 meters per second during this trial. Similar to his trial at the 45 kick rate, he draws his heels up far at the beginning of the kick and lifts his feet late after the kick, both of which need to be improved upon in his breaststroke swimming technique. In our final trial, at a kick rate of 55 kicks per minute, Nick reaches his fastest average velocity and nearly matches his average peak velocity to what he was able to hit with a 45 kick rate. Since the kick rate is higher, you'll notice his velocity graph on this 55 kick rate looks very similar to his previous graphs, just with less downtime in between each spike. This is good because it means that he hasn't lost the afterburners and is hanging on to a strong propulsion as the kick rate has increased. Ideally, as we push the kick rate up to 60, 65, and higher, Nick should be trying to continue this trend of maintaining peak velocity and increasing his average velocity. For Nick, improving his kick cycle time by training hard at kick rates higher than 55 per minute will help him tremendously in terms of coupling timing in his breaststroke technique. As he learns to maintain a strong propulsion without drawing the heels up as far during these higher kick rates, he needs to remind himself to quickly point the toes and lift the feet at the end of each kick,